welcome to episode 2 of GameDice, and today we're going to be talking about the Fallout series announced by Bethesda and Amazon Studios. If you didn't see it, 2K released their pricing chart for the new NBA game, dropping on PS4 and PS5. So we'll take a look at that chart, see the price of a next-gen game. Yeah, we got a little bit to talk about. Okay, so we're going to kick things off this time with Fallout, the series, which was announced by Bethesda on the 2nd of July, interestingly. No specific special date there for Fallout anyway. But on their Twitter page, they said the world of Fallout is headed your way in a new series in partnership with Amazon Studios and Kilter Films. If you didn't know, Kilter Films worked on Westworld. So Westworld turned out to be decent, not like the best thing in the world, but decent. I think it's worth bearing in mind that the show is super early in production, and as far as I can tell, there doesn't even appear to be any announcements of any type of actors or any plot lines or anything like that. We don't really know anything about it. There was a teaser trailer released on Bethesda's Twitter and Amazon Studios as well, but it doesn't really tell us anything about when it's set or who's in it. All we see is some generic, stay tuned and the usual Fallout loading logos and things like that. So we know it's Fallout, but we don't know anything beyond that. There's no release date either, so we just don't know anything about it. I would show you the trailer, of course, but this is an audio podcast, so But I will say TechRadar, as I'm reading their article, they don't think that we will see the series before 2022. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, it's possible. Just because we haven't seen a main actor or anything like that, it doesn't mean that there isn't one. It just means that they're not ready to show it yet. You don't know. It could be a little bit further in. It could have an episode or two done. We're not sure yet. Interesting that Kilter Films are working on this. They, as I say, they worked on Westworld, and they did some good stuff with it. Don't get me wrong, right? They did a lot of really good stuff with Westworld, and I believe, if I remember correctly, they said that they used games like BioShock and Red Dead Redemption and things like that to use as inspiration to build the park that is central to Westworld's plotline, shall we say. So they kind of know what they're talking about when it comes to games, I guess, or at least they have some experience. So that kind of fills me with a little bit of confidence, at least. But I mean, Fallout, I don't know, Fallout's that kind of series that you play and it's like the lone survivor type thing. So it would be really difficult to translate that into a series because the viewer wouldn't have any input. You can't decide what happens next. I don't know how they're going to translate that. I guess we'll see. It could turn out to be amazing. I'm not so sure though. I have a lot of doubts with this, just because, again, it's your story. I mean, the Fallout games have never really been universally praised on their storytelling or their plot. Usually the plot's relatively thin. It just kind of gets you into the world that you're there to explore. So this series, you can't explore the world because it's going to be sort of on rails, so to speak. So how is this going to work? Is this going to be... I don't know. It can't be interactive because that's a kind of YouTube thing, right? Where you click the annotation to select which path you want to take in those interactive style videos, although they're not really interactive, but they kind of portray that they are. They kind of pull the wool over your eyes and make you think that you're making a decision, such as a heist with Markiplier, for example. It's a prime example of that. But I don't see them doing that with this. This is Amazon. They don't really do that kind of thing. So I don't know. I guess it's good that the creators of Westworld weren't really shy about a lot of the things that, at least, that will be in Fallout, like shooting innocent people and, robberies and things like that. Westworld is different, of course. It'll be interesting to see how they take the actual locations. Like, where is it going to be set? We don't know. We don't literally know anything. It could just be a rehash of a previous game. It could be Fallout 1 remade. It could be the next game remade that we don't know about yet. It could be something completely different. It could be set somewhere else, because obviously a lot of Fallout is set in America, and we've never really seen anything take place outside of that. So that would be kind of interesting to see. But on top of that, there's a lot of things to be explored in Fallout. For example, the vaults. Every vault, well, most of them, not every single one, but most of them have some kind of experiment. So, for example, the infamous Vault 69, which is the counterpart to Vault 68, of course. And in Vault 69, the experiment was to see how people would cope in a very specific situation. Those listening, you may know already, Vault 69 was basically populated by one man and 999 women. And of course, with Vault 68, the reverse, one woman to 999 men. Just one example. Obviously, there's many more of like induced radiation, an intentional water chip failure. Yeah, there's lots of stuff that they could draw from. And a lot of these vaults, sometimes the experiments are pretty messed up. So I mentioned earlier that we don't actually know how far into production this is. And that's accurate, we don't know. But it seems that Todd Howard was speaking to Deadline, although it doesn't actually say in their article. It says that he's wanted to do it for many years. It was clear from the moment I first spoke with Jonah and Lisa from Kilter Films a few years ago that they and the team at Kilter were the ones to do it right. A few years ago? That was quite a long time ago. I don't know how long things take to go from, yeah, let's do it, to actually doing it, but I'm pretty sure a few years is more time than is necessary. So, could have been working on this series for a while already. There just hasn't been any leaks or anything discussing it. But I think that it's a little further on than people think it is. I think it's probably already shooting right now, potentially. That's not to say that they've got a main character ready to go. It just means that they're getting everything ready, like they may be doing their landscape shots or their long takes or whatever it is that they do that has like a lot of B-roll in it. It's possible. It's definitely possible, but we just don't know how far in it is. I wish there was like more information about it, but there's just nothing, so we don't know anything at the moment. That is the Fallout series. Now let's talk about NBA. Okay, so moving on to NBA now. This is kind of funny to me just because it's so ridiculous, but it could turn out to be the way things will be. So I've got the prices and stuff here, everything for NBA 2K21, the game that nobody asked for. So if you're on the current gen PS4 and you want to buy this game standard, brand new, and you want the physical edition, there's lots of buttons here to play with. The physical edition will run you £60, okay, $59.99, which, in all honesty, is absolutely ridiculous. I don't know anybody that buys games at this price. I can guarantee you can go onto Amazon, Asda, Tesco, wherever you want, and you'll buy this game for less than £60. I mean, it's an absolute rip-off. So there's no way people are going to pay that. The average price, I think, well, the highest price I think people are willing to pay for a game in the UK is £50. That's $49.99. I think that's the highest price. So the fact that this is £10 more is kind of weird. But if we go to the Mamba Forever Edition, that's $84.99. It's £85. That's PS4. Now, if we go to the Xbox One version, it's the same price. If we go to Steam, it's less. It's $79.99, which is interesting. So keep that in mind. Steam version is less. The Switch version is also $79.99. That's the digital version. There's no physical release. for that on Switch for some reason. So going back to the standard edition on Steam, you're looking at the right price, $49.99. That's exactly what I was saying. So now we move over to next gen, and this is where things get a little interesting. So we go to the standard edition. For the PS5, it will be £65. For the standard physical edition, 65. We are approaching £100 here. I know we're still £35 off, but we're approaching £100 for a standard game. We're nearly at £70 here. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. There's no way. I don't think people are going to pay this much money for a game. I don't see it. I don't see the justification of going from $49.99 to $64.99. I don't see it, right? So there's, for reference, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but there's no quote-unquote next-gen version for Steam. And I find this really odd, because currently PCs are more powerful than even the next-gen consoles. So it's really weird that if you buy the Steam version, you're getting the same version as somebody would get on the PS4, not the PS5, which doesn't really make sense. I don't really get it. It doesn't compute. But anyway, moving over to the Mamba Forever edition, which happens to have Bryant on the front there. That's $79.99, which is interesting, because that's the same price as the current gen version on Steam. But if we go to PS4, okay, and we look at the current gen version, it is $84.99, okay? The current gen Mamba Forever edition is $84.99. So then we go to the next gen Mamba Forever edition, and it's actually cheaper. It's actually £5 less on PS5 than it is on PS4. What? Why? Why is it suddenly cheaper? So the physical version, at least for the special edition, is £80, and the current gen version is more expensive. I don't get that. The pricing here doesn't really make sense. I mean, the standard edition is more expensive than the current gen standard edition, okay, but the last gen special version costs more than the next gen special. It doesn't make any sense. How did they work that out? I'm kind of speechless, actually. But honestly, what's getting me most is that standard edition at $64.99. I don't know who would pay that for that. If you know, then please let me know if you would. I certainly would not be willing to pay £65 for a game. You got no chance of that. As it doesn't make sense. You say that games are becoming more expensive to develop, and yet we have games that look like the next gen versions on PC for cheaper. See, that's the thing, that's the kicker, shall we say. So, for example, I mean, even Fallout, right? Fallout runs on PC at 60 FPS, and you can get it up to 4K 60. I guess that would be considered next gen, because you can't do that on current gen systems. It runs like trash. So it's actually cheaper on PC most of the time. I don't know if it is right now. I'm not going to check, but feel free to. But most of the time, even from sales or whatever, it is cheaper, and yet it runs better, like it's the next gen version. So the question is, when it comes to NBA, why, if I buy it on Steam, am I getting the limited version, whereas I should be getting a superior, at least graphically, version? It doesn't really make sense to me. It's weird. There's no option at all. It's PS5 or Xbox Series X, and that's it. That's the line right there that's drawn. It's just really strange. I'm not sure how I feel about that. This is the only game, by the way, that has revealed any type of price. So there's a lot of games that's been confirmed, but almost no games that have actually given a price. This is kind of the first one. And what a game to start it with. NBA, the game that nobody asked for. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's just really weird. I don't know, maybe some people are willing to pay more for the same game again. I'm not, but some people might be. Like I would pay if the game was worth it. I think with it, like NBA, it's not really worth it just because like it's the same game as the last year, maybe just a bit of extra sweat on the character models. But beyond that, that's about it. You know, you don't see any more fantastical content, and you don't get to carry over your like your players that you've sort of gambled for in the previous game. You can't carry those over to the next game. They kind of wipe the slate clean. You have to gamble for them again. So there's not really any value there. At least for this game, I would probably pay £20 at most for this game, and that's current and next gen versions. I wouldn't pay any more than that, and that's just because the content just isn't there. There's no look at all the things we've done since the last game. You know, we're moving generations now, and just adding extra sweat to a character is just not going to do it for me. It's not going to push the price from $49.99 to $64.99. It's the value is just not there. And of course, this is NBA 2K21 from 2K, so you know, it's not necessarily a representation of how the rest of the industry is going to do it, because they tend to be kind of on the more shady and scummy side. But still, I don't like how they're trying to shape up this price. And of course, you got all your different editions and all this, and the website is slightly confusing, actually, to be fair. And like I've already said, I pressed the digital version and it shows me dollars for some reason. So I don't even know. Maybe that means it's not available. I mean, it will be, of course, but I don't know. You know. Okay, so I've just done a quick check, right? So if we look at the website, we can see that the sort of standard edition is £64.99. Okay, and if we go to the digital edition, it shows the American price, but obviously I can change it to the US and then go to physical, and it will show me $69.99. So for those who are wondering, $69.99 as of right now, which is the 5th of July 2020, $69 is about £54. So with that in mind, I then changed the price to United Kingdom. Why does it say £64.99? Why am I paying £10 extra? That's my question. I'm paying an extra $15 on top. For what exactly? Like, literally, I'll go and convert the price right now. I'll type in, you can hear me, $64.99 in British pounds in US dollars. We'll just go ahead and do that right now. There you go. And it is $81. Am I missing something here? Why am I paying $80 for the game when someone else is paying $69? What am I missing? Why? Why do I have to pay extra? And this is why people will not pay £64 for a game. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're closer to paying $100 for a standard edition of a game than Americans are. It doesn't make sense. I don't see people paying this price for this game. And I think that pretty much wraps up this episode. This is more of a rant than anything. But I can't help it. It's got to be done. It's got to be said. The prices are out there. Anybody can check. You can just go Google NBA 2K21 and it'll take you straight there. And you can see all the prices for all the different platforms, gens, editions. Oh, God, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. But still, that is the second episode of GameDice, though. Thank you for listening. Check us out on Twitter. So, yeah, I'll have all the links you need in the description. I will try and link to the articles, but, you know, I don't think that the apps will really let you click on links and take you to other places, so I probably won't, but just know that they are there. I did check them. You can Google them easily. So yeah, that is pretty much everything. Thank you again for listening a second time. Thank you.